My grandfather disappeared on Blue Heron Lake 40 years ago. He took his boat out after dinner, same as he'd done 1,000 times before. He never came back. They found the boat the next morning, drifting near the eastern cove. His tackle box was open. His rod was broken. His lantern was still burning. But my grandfather was gone. No body, no trace, nothing. The police said he must have fallen overboard. Old man, dark water, happens all the time. I didn't believe them. Not because I had evidence, because of what he said to me the last time I saw him. He was standing on the dock, loading his gear, getting ready to push off. I was 18. I asked him why he always fished the eastern cove at night. He'd been going there for years. Same spot, same time, same routine. He looked at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. "Don't ever anchor there," he said. "And if you find yourself there at night, don't breathe. Don't let it hear your heart. It hunts by pulse. It can feel you from below. The only way to survive is to go quiet. Completely quiet." I asked him what it was. He didn't answer, just pushed off into the dark. I never saw him again. I've been asking myself that question every night for 40 years. What was he afraid of? What did he see out there? Why did he keep going back if he was so scared? I started fishing the Eastern Cove the year after he disappeared. I told myself I was looking for answers. I told myself I needed to know what happened to him. But the truth is simpler. I needed to be where he was. I needed to feel what he felt. I needed to understand why he couldn't stay away. 30 years. I've been fishing that cove for 30 years. Same boat, same spot, same anchor. I've never seen anything, never heard anything, never smelled anything. Until tonight. The fog came in at midnight. Thick, wet, cold. The kind of fog that swallows sound. I was in the Eastern Cove, same as always. My lantern was burning, my line was in the water. The fish weren't biting. They never bite in the Eastern Cove. I've known that for 30 years. But I keep coming back. Around 1 a.m., I heard it. A dripping sound. Steady. Rhythmic. Like a faucet that won't quite close. I looked around. The boat was dry. The lake was calm. There's no faucet on a boat. There's no faucet anywhere within miles. The dripping was coming from the water, right next to the boat. Like something was dripping from below. Like something was leaking from the bottom of the lake. I told myself it was nothing. Big fish surface at night. Carp, catfish. They make noise. I've heard it before. 30 years on this water. I know every sound. But I've never heard dripping like that. Steady. Measured. The same interval between each drop. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Like a clock. Like someone counting. I tried to ignore it. Lit my lantern brighter. Checked my line. Nothing. The fog was getting thicker. I couldn't see the shore anymore. Couldn't see the stars. Couldn't see anything except the small circle of light from my lantern and the black water beyond. I reached for my thermos. Coffee. The way I've drunk it for 50 years. My hand went into the dark. Found the thermos. Good. But something else. Something beside the thermos. Something that wasn't there before. My fingers touched it. Cold. Smooth. Not metal. Not plastic. Something else. Something that felt like skin. But not skin. Older. Tougher. Like leather that has been underwater for a very long time. I pulled my hand back. Didn't look. Didn't want to look. I told myself it was a fish. Must have jumped into the boat. It happens. I didn't look. I just sat there, holding my thermos, staring at the lantern, listening to the dripping. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. The smell came next. Not fish, not lake water. Something alive. Something cold. Something large. The kind of smell that comes from deep water. From the bottom. From places where light doesn't reach. I've smelled that smell before. Once. 40 years ago. The night my grandfather disappeared. I was at the dock, waiting for him to come home. The fog rolled in. The same fog. Thick, wet, cold. And on the air, that smell. Something from the deep. Something that had been down there for a long time. I ran home that night. Didn't look back. In the morning, his boat was drifting in the eastern cove. His lantern was still burning. His rod was broken. And the smell was gone. I've been trying to find that smell again for 40 years. I've been coming to this cove, night after night, hoping to catch it. Hoping to prove to myself that I didn't imagine it, that my grandfather didn't just fall, that something took him. Tonight, I found it. The boat moved. Not from wind. There was no wind. Not from current. The water was flat. The boat turned, slowly, rotating on its anchor line, like something below was pushing it, like something was circling. I grabbed the sides. The wood was cold. The water was black. The lantern was flickering, and the dripping had stopped. The silence was worse. The kind of silence that presses against your ears. The kind of silence that means something is listening. I remembered my grandfather's warning. Don't let it hear your heart. I pressed my hand against my chest. My heart was pounding. Too loud. Too fast. I tried to slow it. Tried to calm down. But you can't calm down when you know something is below you. Something that has been below you for 30 years. Something that has been waiting. I looked over the side. The water was dark. Too dark, even with the lantern, even with the moon. The light didn't penetrate. It was like looking into something solid, something that didn't want to be seen. Then I saw it. A shape. Below the surface. Large. Very large. Moving slowly. Circling the boat. The same circle my grandfather's boat made the night he disappeared. I held my breath. The circling stopped. The water went still. The fog pressed in. The lantern flickered. I could feel my heart. Still pounding, still too loud. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't make it quiet. It hunts by pulse. It can feel you from below. The shape came closer. I could see it now. Not a fish. Not anything I've ever seen in 30 years on this water. It was pale, almost white, long, too long. And it had arms, and legs, and a face. My grandfather's face. He was floating, just below the surface. His eyes were open. His mouth was moving. Water poured out. Not water. Something else. Something dark. Something thick. His skin was gray. His clothes were the same ones he wore the night he disappeared. The same flannel shirt, the same fishing vest, the same hat. He opened his mouth wider. Wider than a human mouth can open. Wider than a face should be able to stretch. And he spoke. Not with his voice. Not entirely. There was something else underneath. Something older. Something that had been down there for thousands of years. Something that had learned to speak by listening to the voices of the people it took. Little fish, he said. That was his name for me. When I was a kid, he called me Little Fish. No one else ever called me that. No one else knew. Little Fish, you came back. I knew you would. You always were too curious for your own good. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't move. I just stared at his face. His face. My grandfather's face. The man who raised me. The man who taught me everything I know about this lake. The man who told me never to anchor in the eastern cove. Don't be scared, he said. I've been waiting for you. Someone has to take my place. Someone has to stay down here. Someone has to keep the anchor from dragging. It's been 40 years. I'm tired. I want to go home. His hand reached up, broke the surface. The fingers were too long, too pale, webbed between. Not human. Not anymore. Take my hand, he said. Just for a moment, just long enough to trade. Then you can go, I promise. I just want to feel the sun again. I just want to see your grandmother's face. Please, little fish. Please. I reached out. I don't know why. Maybe because I loved him. Maybe because I'd been waiting 40 years to see him again. Maybe because his voice was his voice. The same voice that read me stories when I was sick. The same voice that taught me how to tie a fly. The same voice that told me he was proud of me. Our fingers touched. His skin was cold. Not water cold. Death cold. The kind of cold that comes from being dead for a very long time. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't my grandfather. Not anymore. Maybe it never was. Maybe the thing in the lake took him 40 years ago and has been wearing his face ever since. Learning his voice, learning his memories, learning his love from me, waiting for me to come back. I pulled my hand away. Rode. Didn't look back. The fog was thick. I couldn't see the shore. Didn't matter. I just rode. Away from the cove. Away from the smell. Away from his voice. The voice that raised me. The voice that taught me everything I know about this lake. The voice that called after me as I rode away. Not angry. Not sad. Patient. The way you speak to someone you know will come back. Because they always come back. I'll be here, little fish. I'll always be here. This lake is my home now, and someday it will be yours too. The fog lifted at dawn. I found the shore, dragged the boat onto the beach, sat there for an hour, just breathing, just feeling the sun on my face, just trying to convince myself that I imagined it. I sold the boat the next day. Haven't been on the water since. Haven't been back to the eastern cove. Haven't told anyone what I saw. But sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet and the wind is still, I hear the dripping. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Coming from the ceiling. I live on the second floor. There's nothing above me but the roof. Last night, a drop landed on my face. Cold. Wet. Salt. Like lake water. Like tears. I looked up. The ceiling was dry. No stain. No leak. Nothing. But I heard his voice. From the corner of my bedroom. From the dark space behind the closet door. From the place where the shadows are thickest. Not yet, little fish. But soon. You'll come back. They always come back. I don't sleep anymore. I just lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the dripping, waiting for the drop that will land on my face, waiting for his hand to reach out of the dark, waiting for the moment when I'm too tired to pull away. I know I'll go back to the lake, not because I want to, because I have to, because he's down there, because he's been waiting for 40 years, because he knows my name, because he knows my heartbeat, because he can feel it right now, even from here, even through the floor, even through the ground, even through the water that connects everything. The lake is patient. The lake is hungry. And somewhere at the bottom of the eastern cove, under the rocks and the weeds and the dark, my grandfather is smiling, waiting for me to come home. This is for you, Mike. I don't know if you're still alive. I don't know if you can hear me. But I need someone to know what happened tonight. I need someone to know that I didn't leave you behind on purpose. I need you to know that I read your note. I just didn't understand it in time. My name is Diane. I've worked the night shift at the Fulton manufacturing plant for 15 years. Mike has been my partner for 12 of those. We run the same machines, work the same hours, take our breaks at the same time. He's the only friend I have left. My daughter is sick. My husband left. My parents are dead. Mike is the one who stayed. Mike is the one who drove me to the hospital when my daughter had her first seizure. Mike is the one who covered my shifts when I couldn't get out of bed. Tonight, he didn't show up. No call, no text, nothing. That's not like him. Mike is never late. Mike is never absent. Mike is the most reliable person I've ever known. I should have left when I found the note. I should have run. But I didn't. Because I needed to know what happened to him. Because I couldn't leave him here alone. Because if I left, no one else would come looking. I was wrong. He wasn't here. Not anymore. Not the way I remember him. The factory is loud at night. Always has been. The machines never stop. Conveyor belts, hydraulic presses, industrial dryers. The noise is constant. After 15 years, I don't even hear it anymore. It's just the background of my life. The heartbeat of the building. Tonight, the noise was different. Not louder, not quieter. Wrong. Like the rhythm was off. Like the machines were breathing instead of running. Like something was underneath the sound. Something that didn't belong. I found Mike's things in the break room around midnight. His drawer was open. 3 centimeters. Just enough to see inside. His photo was there. His daughter. She graduated high school last year. He was so proud. His keychain was there, the one I gave him for his 50th birthday. A little silver fish. He never took it off. And a note, folded, addressed to me in his handwriting. D, don't stay after 2 a.m. The machines change. The noise changes. Something comes out. I should have told you sooner. I'm sorry. I'll be in the usual place. Come find me if you want to know the truth. But don't stay after 2 a.m. I told myself it was a joke. A prank. Mike has a dark sense of humor. He's always messing with me. The drawer must have been left open by the previous shift. The note must have been old, something he wrote weeks ago and forgot about. But the photo was new. His daughter's graduation photo. She graduated last month. He only got the photo last week. He put it in the drawer after his shift yesterday. He was planning to come back. He was planning to be here tonight. Something stopped him. I checked the break room window, the one that looks out onto the factory floor. The curtain was parted, just enough to see through, just enough to watch. But the break room is in the middle of the building. There are no windows on the outside walls. The curtain wasn't parted from the outside. It was parted from the inside, from the factory floor, from the space between the machines. Someone had been standing there, watching me, waiting for me to find the note. The knocking started at 1 a.m., coming from inside the wall, from the machinery housing, the big press on the east side, the one that's been here since before the factory was built, the one no one is allowed to service after dark. 3 knocks, then 5, then 8, then 13. Fibonacci. The sequence Mike taught me. The one he said he heard in the walls 3 weeks ago. The one he said was counting down to something. The one he said we should both be afraid of. I asked him what he meant. He wouldn't tell me. He just shook his head and said I wouldn't believe him. He said I'd think he was crazy. He said I should just trust him and leave before the end of the month. I didn't leave. I told him he was being paranoid. I told him the factory was old and made old sounds. I told him not to worry. I was wrong. The knocking got louder, faster, not random, patterned, deliberate. Someone was sending a message. Someone was trying to tell me something. Someone was counting down to something. I looked at my watch. 1:15 a.m. 45 minutes until 2 a.m. Until the machines change. Until the noise changes. Until something comes out. I tried to leave at 1:30. Tried to walk to the east exit. The door was locked. Not with a key. With something else. Something had been wedged against it from the outside. Heavy. Immovable. I tried the west exit. Same thing. The north exit. Same thing. 3 exits. 3 locks. 3 barriers. Placed deliberately. Someone had sealed me inside. Someone had been planning this. I mapped the sounds. The knocking from the machinery housing. The footsteps from the catwalk above. The breathing from the ventilation shaft. All of them positioned at the exits. All of them moving when I moved. All of them hurting me. Pushing me toward the center of the factory. Toward the big press. The old one. The one no one services after dark. I remembered something Mike told me years ago. He said the press had been here since the factory opened in 1947. He said no one knew who built it or where it came from. He said the maintenance manual was missing. He said the engineers who tried to service it after dark never came back. I asked him what happened to them. He said they were transferred. He said they moved away. He said they didn't leave forwarding addresses. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. Because the alternative was worse. The alternative was that they were still here. Inside the press. Inside the walls. Inside the spaces between the machines. Waiting for someone else to join them. The smell came at 1:45. Food. Warm. Fresh. Mike's lunch. The one he packed yesterday. The one he was supposed to eat tonight. It was on the break room table, still steaming. His favorite, meatloaf and mashed potatoes. His wife's recipe. He wasn't here to eat it, but someone had heated it up. Someone had placed it on the table. Someone wanted me to know that they knew about Mike, that they had access to his things, that they had been in his house, in his kitchen, in his life. The knocking stopped. The footsteps stopped. The breathing stopped. The machines went silent, not gradually, all at once. Every machine in the factory, every conveyor belt, every hydraulic press, every industrial dryer. All of them stopped at the same time. 1:59 a.m. 1 minute before 2 a.m. 1 minute before the machines change. 1 minute before something comes out. The silence was worse than the noise, worse than the knocking, worse than the footsteps. Because in the silence, I could hear something else. Something that had been underneath the machines the whole time. Something that had been waiting for the noise to stop so it could be heard. A voice. Mike's voice. Coming from the big press. The old one. The one no one services after dark. Die. You shouldn't have stayed. I told you to leave. I told you not to come looking. But you're too stubborn. You always have been. That's why I liked you. That's why they chose you. I walked toward the press. I don't know why. Maybe because I needed to see him. Maybe because I needed to know if he was alive. Maybe because I couldn't leave without knowing. The press was open. The doors were wide. Inside, there was a space that shouldn't have fit. The press wasn't big enough to hold a person, but inside there was room. Room for Mike. Room for the engineers who disappeared. Room for all of them. They were standing in a circle, facing inward. Their eyes were open. Their mouths were moving. Their skin was gray. Their clothes were the same ones they wore when they vanished. The same uniforms, the same boots, the same wedding rings. And at the center of the circle, standing perfectly still, was Mike. His hands were pressed against the sides of the press. His fingers were fused to the metal. His skin had grown into the surface. He was becoming part of the machine. He turned his head, looked at me, smiled. They needed someone to run the press at night, he said. Someone who knew the rhythms, someone who could hear the patterns, someone who wouldn't be missed. I volunteered. I didn't want to, but they didn't give me a choice. His voice was wrong. Too smooth, too even. Like the machines, like the knocking, like the Fibonacci sequence. Patterned, deliberate. Not human anymore. You're next, Di. You're the only one who can take my place. You know the machines. You know the rhythms. You know the patterns. You've been training for this your whole life. You just didn't know it. I ran. The machines were still silent. The exits were still blocked. But I remembered something. The east exit opened automatically at 3 a.m. for the cleaning crew. Every night. The same time. The same door. The same lock. I had 90 minutes. 90 minutes to survive. 90 minutes to stay away from the press. 90 minutes to keep from looking at Mike's face. 90 minutes to pretend I didn't hear the voices of the other engineers, the ones who had been inside the press for decades, the ones who were still awake, still aware, still waiting. I hid in the break room, locked the door, pushed a table against it, sat in the corner, watched the clock, listened to the silence. At 2 a.m. the machines started again, but different, wrong. The rhythm was off. The sound was wrong, like they were playing a song I'd never heard, like they were speaking a language I didn't understand. And underneath the noise, I heard Mike's voice, coming from the ventilation shaft, coming from the walls, coming from the floor beneath my feet. It's okay, Di. It doesn't hurt after a while. You get used to it. You become part of something bigger, something older, something that will outlast the factory, something that will outlast the city, something that has been here since before the building, since before the street, since before any of this existed. You'll be with us soon. You'll be part of the pattern, the Fibonacci sequence, the rhythm of the machines, the heartbeat of the factory. You'll never be alone again. The floor vibrated, not from the machines, from something else. Something beneath the concrete. Something that had been there for a very long time. Something that was waking up. I looked at the clock. 2:45 a.m. 15 minutes until the east exit opened. 15 minutes until I could run. 15 minutes until I could leave Mike behind. The door rattled. The table moved. Something was pushing from the other side. Something strong. Something patient. Something that didn't need to rush because it knew I had nowhere else to go. Don't be scared, Di. We're all here. The engineers, the night shift workers, the ones who disappeared. We never left. We just changed. We became part of the factory, part of the press, part of the pattern. You will too, soon. And when you do, you'll understand. You'll see the beauty of it, the precision, the inevitability, the Fibonacci sequence, the rhythm of the machines, the heartbeat of the factory. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The door opened. The table fell. The lock broke. The lights flickered. And in the doorway, standing in the dark, was Mike. His hands were still fused to the metal. His skin was still gray. His eyes were still wrong. But he was smiling. The same smile he gave me when my daughter was born. The same smile he gave me when I was crying in the hospital. The same smile he gave me when he said, "I'll always be here for you, Di. I'll always be here for you," he said. Forever. In the press, in the factory, in the pattern. Just like you promised. Just like I promised. We'll never be apart again. I ran. Through the door, past the press, past the other machines, past the bodies in the walls. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I didn't breathe. The east exit was open. 3 a.m. The cleaning crew was here. The door was unlocked. I pushed through, ran across the parking lot, didn't stop until I reached my car, didn't look back until I was inside, didn't breathe until the doors were locked and the engine was running. The factory was dark. The machines were silent. The press was closed. Everything looked normal, like nothing had happened, like Mike had never existed, like the engineers had never disappeared. But in the window of the break room, there was a face. Mike's face, pressed against the glass, smiling. And beside him, another face, one I didn't recognize. One that looked like me. One that was wearing my uniform. One that had my hair, my eyes, my smile. The face waved. Then the lights went out, and the factory was dark again. I'm home now. My daughter is asleep. The house is quiet. I've been sitting in the dark for 3 hours, trying to convince myself that I imagined it, that the stress of my daughter's illness, the loneliness of the past 15 years, the guilt of leaving Mike behind, that all of it combined to make me see things that weren't there. But I can still smell his lunch. I can still hear his voice. I can still see his face in the window, smiling, waving, waiting. And I can feel the floor vibrating, not from the furnace, not from the washing machine, from something else, something beneath the house, something that has been here for a very long time, something that is following me home. I called the factory this morning. The night supervisor answered. I asked about Mike. He said Mike quit last week, moved away, didn't leave a forwarding address. I asked about the engineers. He said they all retired, years ago. He didn't know where they went. I asked about the press. He said it was decommissioned, removed, scrapped. He said there was nothing there anymore. He was lying. I know he was lying, because I could hear it in his voice. The same wrongness, the same smoothness, the same pattern, the same rhythm, the same Fibonacci sequence. He wasn't the night supervisor anymore. He was part of the factory, part of the press, part of the pattern. And now, so am I. I can feel it. In my hands, in my skin, in my bones. The metal growing, the pattern forming, the rhythm taking hold. I'm becoming something else, something that will outlast the factory, something that will outlast the city, something that will outlast me. Mike said it doesn't hurt after a while. I hope he's right. I hope he's still in there. I hope I'm not alone. But I know I'm not, because I can hear them in the walls, in the floor, in the ceiling. The engineers, the night shift workers, the ones who disappeared. They're all here. They're all waiting. They're all part of the pattern. And soon, so will I. My daughter is calling me. She's awake. She's scared. She says there's someone in her closet, someone who looks like me, someone who is smiling. I'm going to check on her. I'm going to open the closet door. I'm going to see what's inside. And if it's me, If it's the me I'm becoming, I don't know what I'll do. I don't know if I'll run. I don't know if I'll scream. I don't know if I'll smile. The floor is vibrating. The walls are humming. The pattern is forming. I have to go.